In 2023, the U.S. consumed 759 million gallons of wine. Interestingly, a study from 2018 suggested that 10% of the population may be allergic to wine.
Welcome to the Ultra Healthy Now podcast, where your journey to feeling younger, sexier, and more energized begins. Dr. Nicole Srednicki, who specializes in high-performance health, will dive into practical, actionable tips and strategies that can transform your physical, mental, and emotional well-being. Join us as we uncover the secrets to living a healthier, happier life, mind, body, and spirit. Because true health, beauty, and happiness start on the inside.
Hello, and welcome to Ultra Healthy Now, the weekly podcast where we dive into the journey of maximizing your health potential. I'm your host, Dr. Nicole Srednicki, founder of Ultra Healthy Human, where we specialize in high-performance health for high-performance people. Have you ever had a glass of wine and experienced an instant headache, flushed face, or sinus congestion? Ever wondered, do I have an allergy? Today, we're going to answer that question and uncover some surprising connections, especially for those with shellfish, egg, or dairy allergies. I just got back from an amazing yacht trip in Croatia. You can check out some of the pictures on Instagram. We were sitting around the table on the yacht, everyone sipping their cocktails and wine, and my friend Steph said, "I love wine, but after just one sip, I instantly get congested. This happens every time." I asked her if she pays attention to the region where the wine comes from or what's on the label. Steph said, "Nope, I've never paid attention to that. I just seem to always react." I asked her if she's ever taken an antihistamine like Zyrtec or a supplement such as quercetin, and she said, yes, nothing changes the outcome. What stood out to me was that Steph has a shellfish allergy. I couldn't help but think about how her body might be reacting to more than just the wine itself. I get a lot of patients asking about the healthiest, quotes, types of wine. Even if you don't have an obvious reaction, you should still be aware of what's in the wine you drink. Since I get so many questions and my friends from my Croatia trip were curious, we're going to do a 2-part podcast on wine and its health impacts. Think of your health like running a business. Just as you wouldn't make an uninformed investment, you shouldn't make uninformed decisions about what you put in your body. Entrepreneurs strive to have peak performance, and even small decisions like the wine you drink can have significant impacts on your energy levels, internal health, and overall performance. Many of my patients, including the Rich Dad advisors, lead busy lives. They balance work, travel, social events, all with their health. They want to enjoy life, which often includes wine, but they also want to maintain that balance. They are all high performers. I love working with them. So we come up with a health plan that helps fit in their lifestyle. They can still enjoy wine in moderation, but we balance this out with other health initiatives. In 2023, the U.S. consumed 759 million gallons of wine. Clearly, this is a topic worth talking about. Interestingly, a study from 2018 suggested that 10% of the population may be allergic to wine. This is a significant number of people who could be having adverse reactions without realizing it. So we're going to break this down into 2 parts. Today, we're going to cover allergies and intolerances, focusing on sulfites and shellfish, egg, dairy, and yeast allergies, and then wine allergy testing. In part 2, we're going to get into some of the wine terms. Have you ever looked at a bottle and wondered what those words mean? We're also going to talk about health benefits versus risks, recommended intake, and the healthiest wine regions. Please note, I'm not a winemaker or a sommelier, but I am a doctor, and my goal is to help listeners make informed health decisions. And a holiday warning. With the holidays approaching, wine is likely to show up at many parties and gatherings. Let's arm you with the knowledge to make informed choices about what you're drinking. And if you don't drink, you can just impress your friends with the knowledge. Here's a quick rundown of how wine is made. Easy. Grapes are grown and harvested, then they're crushed and pressed, Then yeast is added to the grape juice to convert sugars into alcohol during fermentation. We're going to focus on this step. Then the wine is aged in barrels or tanks, and then a clarification process to remove the solids through fining, filtration, or racking takes place. We're also going to focus on this. And then finally, the wine is bottled. So during fermentation, yeast breaks down the sugars into grape juice, producing sulfites as a byproduct. This means nearly all wines contain sulfites, even if no extra sulfur dioxide is added. However, winemakers add extra sulfites as preservatives. Think of sulfites like added preservatives in food. They keep the product stable, but they can cause reactions in sensitive individuals and result in inflammation. Sulfites serve three main functions: preservation, to prevent oxidation, keeping the wine flavor and color intact; antimicrobial properties, so they inhibit the growth of unwanted bacteria and yeast; and then stabilization, to ensure consistency during the transportation and storage process. Sulfites can be bad because they can cause allergic reactions, especially in people with asthma. Reactions can range from mild headaches, skin rashes, to severe respiratory issues. In regards to headaches, some people believe that sulfites contribute to wine headaches, although this is often debated and might be due to other factors like histamines, tannins, or alcohol content. Histamine is also produced in wine during fermentation, as naturally occurring histidine from the grapes is decarboxylated into histamine. Of note, sulfites are also common in many other foods, like dried fruit, which contains even higher levels than wine, deli meats, bacon, sauces, granola bars, and soups. All pretty bad foods anyways, because they're very processed, so I'm usually not recommending them anyways. Let's talk about the natural wine movement. Natural winemakers often avoid adding sulfites as part of the broader philosophy of minimal intervention, believing that wines should express their natural qualities without chemical additives. So in regards to labeling, in the US and many other countries, wine containing more than 10 ppm of sulfites must be labeled as contains sulfites. This labeling can cause concern among consumers who may not understand that naturally occurring sulfites are present even in wines labeled no added sulfites. Specifically in the US, organic wines must not contain added sulfites, though naturally occurring sulfites can be present. Organic wines may contain up to 0.1 mLs of sulfites, but added sulfites in organic wines are generally discouraged. Now, there's a small percent of the market that produces unsulfured wine, but from what I understand, they can have a common defect called barnyard aroma caused by the presence of a yeast. Key points about sulfites. Sulfites do play a role in ensuring wine quality and longevity. However, can be problematic for individuals who are sensitive to them. Most wines contain sulfites, even those labeled as natural, though the levels are typically lower in wines without added sulfites. Minimal use of sulfites, or using the smallest amount possible, reflects the winemaker's desire to make better wine. It takes more time, patience, and money to make wine with lower amounts of added sulfites. But to most wine experts, it makes better wine. So many people think that sulfites are solely the cause of feeling like crap after drinking wine. That may not be the case. Next, let's talk about the fining process. Fining agents are used to clarify and stabilize wine by removing particles that can cause cloudiness, bitterness, or astringency. These agents can include egg whites, casein, which is a milk protein, gelatin, which is derived from animal collagen, isinglass, made from fish bladder, bentonite clay, which removes proteins, or activated charcoal. And these are used to remove excess tannins, oxidized flavors and browning, other compounds, and odors from the wine. Shellfish-derived agents like chitosan can also be used to filter and clarify wine. This is where people with shellfish allergies like Steph need to be extra careful. I asked her if she's ever tried vegan wine, which doesn't use animal-derived agents. She wasn't sure, but she was excited to learn more about it. Some wines, particularly vegan wines, avoid these substances and use plant-based alternatives for the fining process. Several countries have a growing number of wineries that avoid these shellfish or animal-derived substances like chitosan due to the increasing demand for vegan and organic wines. While there aren't entire countries that ban this use, some regions and wineries are more likely to avoid it. If you're interested in learning about these regions, we can send you a list. Just head over to ultrahealthyhuman.com and drop us a message on the contact page with the subject wine regions. These practices are often driven by the organic, biodynamic, or vegan wine movements rather than being specific to a country's regulations. If you're seeking wines that don't use shellfish or other animal-derived products, looking for a vegan or natural wine label is a good approach. So is this listed on wine labels? Labeling laws vary by country, but generally only ingredients that remain in the final product are required to be disclosed. Since fining agents are typically removed from the wine after they have performed their function, they are not considered ingredients and therefore do not need to be listed. The European Union has specific labeling regulations that require wines fined with egg or milk products to include a warning on the label if residues are detectable in the final product. The label might say something like contains egg or contains milk if there's a risk for allergic reactions. In the US, they typically don't require such labeling unless the wine contains detectable levels of allergens. However, some wine producers voluntarily indicate if their wine is vegan or vegetarian, which suggests that no animal-based fining agents were used. It is possible to have an allergic reaction to wines that have been fined using egg whites, casein, or shellfish-derived agents. Even though these substances are usually removed, trace amounts might remain. For most people, these amounts are so small that they don't pose a problem, but individuals with allergies could still react. The likelihood of an allergic reaction depends on the severity of the individual. Some people with severe allergies might react to trace amounts, while others might not. Although rare, there are reported cases of allergic reactions to these trace proteins. On top of this, there can also be inflammation and other types of reactions that are more like intolerances. So some precautions for allergy sufferers. Please note, I'm not giving this recommendation, but you can talk to a doctor about safety measures. 1, seek vegan wines. If you have a known allergy to eggs or dairy, opting for vegan wines can help you avoid some risks. Vegan wines do not use the animal-derived fining agents, and they'll use alternates like bentonite clay or pea protein. Make sure you check the labels. If you're in the EU, European Union, or another region with strict labeling laws, check the label for any allergen warnings. In other regions, you may need to contact the winery directly to inquire about their fining practices. And consult with a healthcare provider. If you have severe allergies and are concerned about potential reactions, it's best to have a consultation for personalized advice. Now we're going to talk about allergy testing. If you suspect you have a wine allergy, there are blood tests that can help to diagnose allergens or sensitivities, although these tests might not specifically identify an allergy to wine in general. Instead, they focus on detecting allergic reactions to specific compounds commonly found in wine, such as sulfites, histamines, or other ingredients like grapes, yeast, or additives. If you're interested in specifics for wine allergy testing, we can send you a list. Just go to ultrahealthyhuman.com and drop us a message with the subject line wine allergies. We're happy to send this list over. When you should consider testing. So if you're experiencing symptoms like headache, flushing, nasal congestion, stomach upset, or difficulty breathing after consuming wine, you might have an allergy or sensitivity to one of its components. Testing is particularly recommended if you experience mild or consistent reactions. It's important to consult with an allergist or a healthcare provider if you suspect you do have one of these wine allergies. At Ultra Healthy Human, we can recommend and do appropriate testing that can help provide valuable insights into what might be triggering your reactions, and then next steps in the context of your overall health. No matter what kind of wine you drink, moderation is key. Just like a business where too much of a good thing can lead to burnout, too much wine can have long-term health effects. So do your research and choose wisely. We're going to be talking more about the health effects on our next podcast. So some take-home messages and tips. 1, pay attention. Are you having any type of reaction, even subtle? 2, look out for no added sulfites. 3, if you have dairy, egg, or shellfish allergies, be careful because fining agents are typically not listed on wine labels because they are removed after the fining process. In regions with strict labeling requirements, wines that contain such residues should have an allergen warning on the label. And 4, allergy testing is available. Stay tuned for next week's part 2 episode where we're going to dive into the good and bad about wine and where to find the healthiest types. That's a quote, healthiest types. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Ultra Healthy Now. If today's episode sparked your interest in achieving your maximum health potential, or you want more help finding out about allergy testing, I invite you to contact us or visit us at ultrahealthynow.com. Explore our specialty formulated supplements, ask questions, suggest topics for the Ultra Healthy Now podcast, or schedule a consultation. Join us at Ultra Healthy Human, where your health, beauty, and happiness begin from the inside. Visit ultrahealthynow.com to start your transformation today. Thank you.
Thank you for tuning in to the Ultra Healthy Now podcast with Dr. Nicole Srednicki. To discover more, visit ultrahealthynow.com and jumpstart your wellness journey with our 21-day detox program, a total body reset, more energy, better focus, and weight reduction. Our carefully formulated, high-quality supplements will aid in a new level of wellness. Don't wait. Unleash the ultra-healthy human within you. At Ultra Healthy Human, Eastern and Western modalities are combined with cutting-edge technology to guide personalized health programs to help you tap into the limitless potential of your mind and body. Because true health, beauty, and happiness start from within. Remember to subscribe, like, and share this episode wherever you listen to podcasts.
And before we sign off, I want to make it crystal clear that the information presented here is for informational and entertainment purposes only. This episode should not be considered a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. And while we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, the content discussed in this podcast is based on general knowledge and research available at the time of recording. Medical knowledge and guidelines can evolve, and what we discussed may not always reflect the most current research or recommendations. If you have specific health concerns or questions, we strongly encourage you to consult with a qualified healthcare professional or medical specialist who can provide personalized advice tailored to your unique circumstances. Every individual's health situation is unique, and what works for one person may not be suitable for another.
This podcast is a presentation of the Rich Dad Media Network.